So, all right. So it goes from where you are, from the base of the slope. You can tell it goes about 30 feet, which ought to be pretty near the center of the mound. The sword is laying on the ground, so you stop there. And then there appears to be a T intersection, so there's a flat wall directly ahead. And there's some kind of rotting cloth or something on the wall at the intersection. It looks like it may have been an old, like a woven mural, like fancy rug hanging type thing. But it's pretty decayed. You can't really make out the imagery. And so at that point, you would have to go to the right or the left.
Can I just wait for them?
Yep. Okay. So you're about 10 feet back from the intersection because you stopped at the sword.
Yep.
So if you came around the corner, you'd have a little bit of notice or something like that. Okay. All right. So the two of you go under the portcullis and slipping down the slope, make a dex check.
1. Dude.
Okay. All right.
I never rolled this bad.
And then
on this dice.
were you just letting the portcullis go down behind you then? You don't really have much choice unless you're going to prop it up or something. Okay. So it goes shut. You hear that kind of grating, slamming noise from before. And there is no fog in the hallway, and there's no light in the hallway because you put your mace away.
Who's drawing this away?
So the only light in the hallway is hers, and she's 30 feet away. So you can see her, but otherwise it's pitch black darkness.
Actually, how tight is this hallway?
10 foot wide.
Oh, that's super tight.
Easy. Two people.
He'll draw his sword then.
Okay. Yep. 10 foot wide and 10 foot high.
And then I guess we're going forward. Miller!
Okay. At that point, he draws his sword, shing, it comes clear, and then you hear behind you, Chiron says, "There's a portcullis." Is it a portcullis?
Yes! You can lift it! Miller!
No answer.
Then he will, he's gonna go.
Okay. Right. So, I forgot what the dex checks were. What was your dex check?
1.
Yes. And what was your dex check?
Same.
All right. So both of you slip to the bottom to the flat part easily. Meanwhile, Chiron is going to try to open the portcullis. He says, in fact, he says, "Try to find a way to get it open, to keep it open so you can get out."
Maybe you can keep it open so we can get out.
That's what I'm saying.
Huh.
Good idea.
Okay. And then you hear him calling up the slope to Herrick. And Herrick,
Yeah.
there's a portcullis. I need a way to keep it up. Any suggestions?
I have spikes. You could potentially put one in if it runs in a channel, or does it just cover the?
Just a minute, I'll check. All right. Meanwhile, so they're working on the portcullis, try to keep it up, or at least some. It doesn't have to be all the way up, just enough that you can get under it to get out. As long as it's down, you can't get out without a long delay. So.
Luis is moving forward, and he'll say, "One of you grab that sword. It might be important."
I'm gonna grab it. And I'll just put one of my daggers away.
Okay. Chiron's the closest thing you got. You left him on the other side of the portcullis. He turns as a, what level is he now? He turns as a 3rd level cleric.
I think that was really helpful.
So the chance to turn a lich or a vampire at 3rd level is not very good.
Yeah, it don't turn much better.
That's right. Then your druid turns too.
I'm starting to think.
But you keep leaving them behind.
I'm starting to think.
I keep saying.
Arden is starting to think this is a not gonna find anything down here, and it wouldn't matter anyways.
Yeah. So, third level cleric cannot turn. This is Low Moon Outsiders, and the story continues. A vampire cannot turn a lich. It's not possible.
At a base chance of,
Probably cannot turn a crypt thing.
at a base chance of 16 for skeletons, where does that put you in that chart?
Low.
16 for skeletons?
Well, because I just have a chance to turn, you give me a chance to turn a 19 at third level.
For skeletons?
You just said chance to turn 19 at third level.
Okay.
It was something I learned. I haven't really put it to practice yet.
Okay. So you would be
And I can go, and it goes up.
not turning liches or vampires for sure. So you could turn probably up to a ghoul would be possible. So you could have turned ghouls on a 20. So.
I'm not as good as a cleric, probably, or a paladin, so.
No. Yeah, so he could have turned ghouls on like a 13, I think. 13, 16. He did try to turn it first, but then he failed, so he just decided to kill him.
That's usually a paladin's kind of thing to do.
Yeah. He turns ghouls on a 10. He fails. So, all right. Anyway, so Lucas walks past you and says, "So, why don't you pick up that longsword?" And heads to the T intersection. You can go left or right. To the left, you can see on Improvision that it goes about 15 feet and then turns to the right. And then to the right on Improvision, you can see that it goes about 25 feet and turns up to the right.
The residual heat, no obvious signs of passage.
Correct.
Right it is.
Okay. So you go right. It's going about 25 feet and turning right. As you get close to the corner, you can see that it is going to go at least 15 feet. Then you get at the corner, and you can see that it goes 20 feet and then turns left. Okay.
I'm going quickly. I'm like hustling.
Okay, so you're not going carefully, but quickly, despite the fact that
I guess they're traps.
there was a portcullis trap already. What's his wisdom? Oh, he's fine going quickly. It's like, I'm gonna get this guy.
Yeah. Miller's dead or dying, so that's the concern.
Okay.
If it is a crypt thing, Miller is mush on the pavement probably.
A crypt thing, a vampire, or a lich, all would be very bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
Vampire, lich, all bad.
All right, so you turn to the right, it's going 25, 30 feet, and then turning to the left. Are the two of you following? Okay, is there a particular order? Who's next after him?
Bloom should be the next turn.
Okay, who was next? Daggers out?
I have the sword
Okay,
and one dagger.
all right, sword and one dagger. Okay. It feels awkward, like you don't think that you'll get extra attacks with the dagger. You might be able to parry with it, but you don't think you'll be able to get extra attacks with it, with the sword. The sword's too big.
That's kind of how you go really.
But not with the longsword.
Yeah, longsword's pretty long.
Yeah.
That's something. Most people didn't use longswords.
Yeah, there is such thing as a parrying dagger. That you use a longsword and a parrying dagger. That's relatively common, but the sword is so much longer that why would you try to stick them with the dagger when you can just hack them again with the sword? So you just don't get the attacks with the sword. You don't get very many attacks with the dagger. Oh, if you wind up wrestling on the ground or something, but at that point you can't attack with the sword. So, anyway, so you have sword and dagger. And then Asterd, bow, arrow notched. Okay. I think by my count, you should be down to like 6 arrows or something. Getting low on arrows. Oh, 50? Okay. Alright, plenty of arrows left. Got it. Okay? Alright, and then, so it turns left, and immediately upon turning left, you can see that it is going about 15 feet and ending at a door. It is a human-sized door, 7 foot by 3 foot. It looks old. It's wood bound in iron. There's some vines and moss and stuff that's growing down from the ceiling on it. I mean, you're definitely in a burial mound kind of thing.
You know, run up and kick it now.
I knew it.
However, before you do that, roll a d6.
Lucas kicked.
Lucas kicked door. 2. My, his name was Tony.
Yeah, paladin. 5e paladin. Okay.
Okay.
Just before the door, about 5 feet, on the right-hand wall, there is a concealed opening. Possibly a secret door, concealed door kind of thing. It's more concealed than secret.
Okay. There's a secret door. Who's behind you?
Gloom.
There's a secret door.
Okay.
She's like, what am I supposed to do?
You guys are smarter than me. Which one do we take?
I'm
What?
just as smart as you. I'm not
I
very
assume
bright.
we take the secret door.
Secret door it is. How is it concealed?
Okay. So I mean, as the walls here are that bricks with mortar,
Right.
and they're rough-hewn bricks. They're not very neatly rectangular. But you can see that there is a place where there's like a line that goes down where the bricks were broken, and they sit like this, you know. So this part sits back in, and this part sits out a little bit, and it goes like that on the line. And then you can see some vines and stuff that go down hanging on it. And the vines is what alerted you to that there was something behind there, because they're not growing in their normal way. They seem to be like they've been recently pushed aside or whatever.
Can I kick it?
Um,
Does it look like it might
Yeah.
be open?
it doesn't look like it's solid. Like you think there's like moving the vines, moving the whatever's blocking the doorway would be enough.
I'll do that.
Okay. I mean, you can push it aside like with your sword first to just kind of see where that. All right. So rolls for surprise.
Not surprised.
Okay. So you're not overly shocked, but a little put out perhaps as you see behind it what might be a body. Mind you're on infravision, and you only are catching a glimpse of it, but it's a body and it may be still warm.
Great. Okay.
Okay. So you push it open some more and get in. All right. So with relative certainty, it is Miller's body. Not my pizza.
It's probably Miller.
Locked
I
himself out.
ordered one.
Probably Aaron.
Looks like Ron asked for a heroic death. What's his character? Okay, so I will pull him out of the hole. Is it a hole or is it like a?
So it appears to be basically like an alcove.
Okay, I will pull him out.
You're not cute.
Oh, he is. He's up there. He's not there.
He's not with
Close,
me.
Okay. Yeah. So you're able to pull him out. He is warm compared to the surroundings. You can see him. However, he looks colder than as if he died a few minutes ago. Like his body temperature is considerably lower than you would expect if he died a few minutes ago.
He's gonna turn.
Turn.
Okay. Also, he does not have very much equipment.
I'm gonna roll a wisdom check.
Right.
And see what
Turn on dead, I was not.
your undead killed him. Means it's likely left to his own devices, he might rise again. I don't know that for sure. I don't know exactly what it is we're dealing with. But we should probably cut his head off to be safe.
Out of context, that's a bad line.
Lay him down.
Lay him down.
Actually, wait, hold him up.
So, to be clear, to be aware, he is human.
Formal return.
Right.
So if you take his head off, you will need a resurrection to raise him as opposed to a raised dead. As an elf, you would know that.
If I like stab him through the heart.
Probably the same thing. If you do catastrophic damage to his body, it becomes a resurrection instead of a raised dead.
It would take? You're going to come back and undo?
How are you just carrying?
You're lucky I know that it might happen.
Chiron is not actually in their little group, so,
Oh, sorry.
but yes.
It's just me.
Chiron and
might
Herrick
know.
are trying, yeah, Chiron would have knowledge about this, but they are trying to get the portcullis up to provide a way of retreat.
All right.
That's where they're at right now.
I will hook his body over my shoulder.
Tie him up first.
Okay.
I have room.
He's pudgy in the middle. He's pudgy in the middle, but other than that, you can easily lift him.
No, it's fine. Let's go.
His belly sags around your neck.
Bite you as you're walking.
Just start sniveling.
Okay.
Okay.
We are leaving.
Let's see. Roll d20.
15.
Okay. So as he huffs him over his shoulder and he sags kind of down in the middle and whatever, his head turns oddly to the side, and basically in the dim candlelight, you're looking at him face to face from just like 18 inches away, and it's one of those moments where like it would be a kind of a jump scare, but you're calm. It's not a problem. But if you were watching the movie, it would freak you out. Yes, because his head fell just perfectly to be looking in Asterd's face when you threw him over your shoulder.
Probably gag him.
That is crazy. How did that happen if I threw him over my shoulder? Is the third standing next to me?
He's behind you. Asterd's behind you.
Yeah, over your shoulder on his back's on your shoulder.
Why would his back be on my shoulder? That doesn't make
No, his
sense.
middle's on your shoulder, but then his head is turned at an odd angle.
Like what?
It appears as if his neck is not sitting the way it normally would.
Perhaps his neck was broken.
Yeah. All right, we're leaving. We're hustling back
Sounds like
now.
catastrophic damage.
Okay. And so, meanwhile, Chiron and Herrick are trying to arrange the portcullis. To hoist or to lock it in some form of up position, you're going to need to be able to lift it. You're standing on a 45-degree slope, and the ground is slippery with lichen and water and mosses and such. And you have to be able to bend bars, lift gates. So roll percentile dice, sir. You do not have a lever per se or anything to make it easier. It does appear on the surface to be a little lighter than normal. Nice. Okay, so you're able to lift the portcullis up, and you have it like at waist level, and the plan is to try to wedge a spike in. You did find there's a track on the wall that it's riding in, and so you're at one side. Herrick suggested a spike, gave you the spike, and you're going to try to wedge a spike up into that so that it won't slide down. Okay. Mind you, in theory,
Try to do that while I hold it.
and you could call Herrick down to actually physically do that if you want.
I'm up at the top of the thing
Top of
where
the
we
slope.
got the rope tied off, so that nobody like unties it.
Okay. How difficult do I think it's going to be to do by myself?
I mean, so not terribly. It's doable. You're going to have to brace the portcullis up in its current position. Basically,
Like
if the
squat
portcullis
under it,
starts to
like-
slide down a little bit, it'll wedge the spike automatically, pretty much. So you're just going to lift it about 6 inches higher than you want to block it at. Hold the spike in there and let it ease down onto the spike. That's the plan. So basically, it's a dex check. If you can make a dex check, you can do it.
Okay.
If it'll hold, and then it'll be whether or not it holds.
Made it exactly.
Okay, so no problem. You got the spike in the track. You're letting it settle down onto the spike. Now, as long as the spike holds, you've got it stopped. And it does not. So it slides down. You let it go, and the spike starts sliding down and sliding down. And the hole is now too small for them to get out, maybe like 15 inches or so. So you got to lift it back up again and try again, or maybe try the other side. Something.
Okay. I'll try the other side.
Okay, so you can, as long as you're careful, you can walk across and hold it at its current level. Then you'll have to lift it back up to where you want it and then put it in there. So roll a dex check as you're walking across the slope.
No problem.
Okay, so the stuff is slipping under your feet, but you always manage to find purchase and not actually fall down. Now you're on the other side. it appears as if the track is the same as what the other one was. And then you put the spike in the track, you have to lift it up high enough, put the spike in the track, ease it down onto the spike, roll bend bars, lift gates.
One.
Nice. Okay. So apparently that's your thing. Maybe not rolling healing, but bending bars and lifting gates. You should stick with that.
I'm really good at rolling low numbers.
Okay. All right. But not when you're trying to bend bars, lift gates.
I'm siphoning the high numbers. That's not even true.
That's why we should play.
I'm just right.
All right. Anyway, so you have the spike in place. You're letting it settle down onto it. So as long as the spike holds, you've got it. And it does not.
Dude.
So it's back down too small again. So you're thinking you either need something more solid than the spike, like something more like that has a reason to stay.
Put a spike on either side.
Couldn't reach.
So the mace would do it, but it's only going to hold it open like about 1.5 feet. But the mace would definitely do it.
Yeah, that should be funny. I feel like. Is it spiked
Well,
on the bottom or is it flat?
it's spiked.
And the bottom of the spikes would be 1.5.
Yeah.
Sounds like a small
Yeah. Mind you, it's still pretty good, and then if they came up, they could help lift it, or you could lift it. But if you don't get it spiked up higher, you can't go down and help them. Because you'd have to stay here to make sure they can get out. They might be, the whole point was they might be running. They already know Miller, they said Miller engaged some old, undead-looking man, scary, gaunt man, basically. And they were basically going down to try to find Miller.
Is there any way I might be able to lash it up with my swing?
No, probably not. The walls are rough. You could, you could if you had a hammer, you could pound a spike in the wall, like between the mortar, and then you could actually use the sling, or better yet, just some of the extra rope to tie to the spike and tie it to the bottom of the portcullis, and that would probably hold it up, if the rope would hold. Do we have a hammer? Or just spikes?
Just 10 spikes.
Just spikes. You could use the mace to pound.
Do you
in.
have spikes?
Could be bad for the mace, but it would.
Then
Is it a
don't
normal
question
mace
my
or is it a
spikes,
magic?
no hammer.
Well, probably down.
Probably won't be fine to craft it after that. You'll be unfinally crafting it.
No, I have a magical mace.
Well, I mean, so if it takes damage, it'll no longer be magical, but it will be less likely to take damage because it's magical.
You might be able to wedge your shield in there, but then you wouldn't have a shield.
Would that work?
Well, the shield's probably not better than mace.
It's
I mean, probably just
maybe just a little better than a mace, but not much. Because it's not that high, really.
Is it a horseman's mace or a footman's mace?
If that's Lucas's magic mace.
They would like.
Wait. Lucas's magic mace.
Oh, then what are you worried about? You're gonna have to return it anyway.
Horseman's mace, that's like. Yeah, that's.
Smaller than
about
a
a foot and a
footman's.
half mace.
Yeah.
Well, horseman's maces are
Smaller.
they smaller?
I thought they were usually a little longer.
No, they're smaller because you can't counterbalance the weight on horseback as well as you can on foot.
I was of the opposite impression, so I definitely should have a footman.
I was years ago as well.
Whatever.
It's been a few years ago since I actually figured that out.
When I made that choice, I was the first.
So what do we want to do? You got it up about 15 inches. You're holding it.
It's heavier, but very short.
The horseman's is.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that misconception is understandable, that it would probably hit a little higher.
And they would wear the thong around their wrist, and as they ride, they'd go whack, whack.
Well, they get the momentum from the horse too.
Yeah,
You're doing a ride by.
Exactly. Footman's mason's 4 foot to operate. It's a 4 foot clearance to use it.
Well, consider it this way: what's easier to handle on a motorcycle, a baseball bat or a billy club?
Really close. You can do it with a baseball bat, but it won't be convenient.
There you go.
What are we doing? A clock?
No choice. On a motorcycle?
I don't know,
You could stack spikes in the track and see if they would stay. Like put one in this way, because they're like railroad ties, railroad spikes basically. So put one in this way, and then put one in this way, and then put one in this way, up until you get to like 3 feet. You can do it on both sides then.
okay, I'll
It's gonna
try.
be a lot of spikes. How many spikes we got?
I have 20 or 10.
10. 5 on each side. They're about 10 inches. Yeah.
Okay, I'll try.
Okay. So you hold it up. You stack it up. Well, you could test it at the 15-inch mark first and see if it's even gonna work. Put it in there. Okay, roll a dex check.
Okay.
Okay, it does hold.
Oh. That's convenient.
Okay, so you've got it staying at 15 inches, or it's more like 20 inches, because a little less than 20 inches because of the 2 spikes.
Okay,
So you really only need about like 2 more spikes on that side. The other
Okay.
side you won't even have to spike it.
I'll try
Probably.
and go for 4.
Okay, dex check again.
Fail.
Okay, what's your dex?
16.
Okay, so it does hold.
I'm sorry, 15.
It does hold.
Okay.
Okay, so you got 5 spikes
Oh, girl.
in the hole, in the track, and it comes down and it's sitting on there. It's precarious, but it is sitting on there.
If you don't want to miss any of the story, Low Moon Origins, Uprising, or Outsiders, like and follow our podcast. Please share it with friends.
Yeah, if somebody bumps it hard, it could, the whole thing could topple.
I'm just, quick, let's get out. And somebody bumps into it and it crushes.
Quick, let's try again. Okay,
Get
anyway.
it off me.
All right, so anyway, about that time that you've got it propped, so it's propped at 8 times, it's propped at just over 3 feet. Okay, and at about that time, you see or you hear more than see. You're in very darkness. I mean, not much light at all, and you hear sounds of them coming up, and you see they have candlelight, so you can see them even though there's darkness between you and them. All right, so the 3 of you have reached the bottom of the slope. I think Lucas was leading, correct?
Yes.
With Miller over his shoulder. You're bringing up the rear?
Yes.
Okay. So as you reach the T intersection and turn to head back toward the slope, you hear the low, creaky sound of something opening, and it seems to come from the other direction. So like you went to the right, comes from the left. Okay, so it's 20 feet up a 45-degree slope. Then under a 3-foot-high portcullis, a little over 3 feet high, without bumping the portcullis, preferably, probably. But Chiron is there, and there is a rope that they tied off at the top that starts at about 10 feet from the bottom. So after the first 10 feet, you could use the rope. Okay, so you're going up first.
Yep.
Lucas is, so make a dex check, and it is modified for slippery and
11, which makes my dex.
okay. So you're up as far as the rope, assuming you can really only hold the rope in one hand. You don't have a weapon out. Shield and
I
Lucas
didn't
on
have
the
a
other.
weapon out anyways, I'm carrying a body.
So you got a shield.
Yeah.
So
I guess I would probably rather.
probably the body and the shield on your left side and the rope in your right hand, probably. Okay. All right. And you're going up the rope. You're basically just using the rope to stabilize. You're not climbing up it. Okay. Meanwhile, is anyone going up next? Are you going up next? Okay. All right. Roll a dex check.
Made it.
Okay, so you are up the slope as far as the dangling rope, and Lucas is getting close to the portcullis. Are you going to roll another dex check?
10.
Okay, So you have arrived at the portcullis. The rope goes under the portcullis. The portcullis is a little over 3 feet off the ground, so you're going to have to get down and go under. Chiron is just outside.
Chiron, take Miller's body. What? Shut up and do it. We don't have time. You will begin soon.
So, yes.
Throw Miller's body.
So you are hearing that from the utter darkness, that you cannot see him at all.
Okay.
I'm sliding Miller's body under the portcullis. Just feel around. Just feel.
All right. What is going on?
Okay? Yeah. Alright, so you grope around. You feel his eye, his nose, his slightly misshapen face. You grab his body and pull him under the portcullis. Roll a straight up dex check to make sure that you keep your footing on the 45-degree slope while heaving.
No problem.
So yes, you manage to pull him under. He pulls him under the portcullis. So now you're still up 20 feet from the back of the portcullis up to the top, but there is one rope slung. And you did see the rope go tight, and you do hear voices like things are happening now.
Gotcha. So I am paying close attention to the top, make sure nothing is going on. Keep them from getting.
You do continue to hear like low noises of moving, growling things in the graveyard, but you do not see any more creatures come and attack you. At least not yet. Okay. And you have passed the body under the portcullis. What are you doing now?
He's going to attempt to keep the portcullis keep the
It
rope.
appears to be held up by some way. The portcullis does.
He's gonna keep the rope either in one hand or wrapped around one hand or something, and lift the portcullis the rest of the way up so that people can go quickly.
Okay.
So he's still using the rope to support himself, so he doesn't fall. But he
Sure.
wants to-
Roll Ben Varslip Gates. And Caitlin, roll a 20.
35 under 45.
8.
Okay. So you lift the portcullis up to about 4.5, 5 feet off the ground, and Clume arrives at the portcullis. Meanwhile, I assume Asterd was headed up, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Do you want to use one hand on the rope, or you want to sling the bow and go up two-handed?
Sling the bow.
Okay. So roll a dex check. No problem. Okay, so you're up as far as the rope. You have the dangling rope. It's moving around quite a bit at the top, but you manage to grab a hold of it no problem, and you're continuing up. Roll a d20 again.
20.
Okay. In the darkness behind you, and you can't see, even if you look over your shoulder, you know it's pitch black dark back there. You hear a crackling noise that seems quite out of place. And it seemed to be not far, like it might have been at the T intersection. It's not very far away at all, 20 feet, maybe 30 feet.
Probably go a little downstairs.
Okay. Oh no, I'm moving. Okay. Are you going under the portcullis then?
Yep.
Okay. Which is easy to do for you because it's almost head high. How tall are you?
I am 5'3".
Yeah, so you barely have to duck at all. And then on the other side, so you're on the other side, you're holding the body. She does have a dagger out that is providing candlelight, so you can see her, like it's a little eerie, but you can see her face and like that. And she comes through to where you are. So now it's the two of you and Miller's body, and you can see Lucas is holding the portcullis up quite a bit higher. So the spikes are still in the track, but which will keep it from dropping any further down than, say, 3 feet or so. But he's holding it up at about 5 feet.
Okay, I'll just let him hold it and make sure everyone gets through the door okay without falling.
Okay. So you like prop Miller against the wall, basically like lay him between the wall and the floor, so he doesn't slide down.
Like both arms, so hold him up?
No, not if you lay him like against the wall. You should.
Okay, yeah, I'll do that then.
Unless somebody like then bumps him, then he might start sliding. But okay, so you put him against the wall. You help Clume go through. Are you going all the way to the top? Or you,
I'll stay down there. And
okay. It's like go to the wall and
Yeah.
flank guard or whatever. Okay. You are reaching the portcullis. Roll another d20. Okay, so you go under the portcullis with ease. Lucas is holding it open. Roll a d20 just to check your footing.
13.
Okay, so you've had no trouble as long as you kept your footing kind of planted where you found purchase. Right. But the rope has been moving around quite a lot because people are using it, but you can use it some. But anyway, you found no trouble whatsoever holding in your spot and holding the portcullis up. And everyone is now through except for you.
Okay, so then he will step through and drop it behind it.
Okay. Right. As you step through, so now this is what we've got. We've got candlelight where you are, that Clume is providing with her dagger. Chiron is between you and the wall. Miller's body's laying like wedged against the wall on the floor. Asterd has just come through, and Clume is like to the opposite side, so it's to stay out of the way but be ready. And from the base of the slope, which the only person who actually see the base of the slope is Lucas, and you do not see anything there. But you hear a voice say, "Throw down my sword, and I will let you leave."
You killed my friend.
It's mine.
Have you not taken enough?
You have his sword?
He stole my princess.
What princess? Do we have it still? Does he have it still?
She is with you. Give me the girl, and I will give your friend life.
Clume. That girl.
Is that her name?
She is your princess. You do not know her name.
It is an arranged marriage. It will take some time for us to get to know each other.
Arranged marriage. Arranged by who?
Me, of course. Don't make me come up.
I'm not your arrow.
As much as I would like to add you to my armies, I'm feeling generous.
How kind of you. Clume. Give it back.
Put the sword down.
Okay. It bounces and clatters along the lichen, slippery, wet, slightly wet floor until it reaches the bottom.
We're
Lost
leaving
in the
now.
darkness, you do see it laying there, and then it sort of seems to float up off of the ground, and you realize you are not able to see him. What's that?
So I hope it wasn't a trap.
Sword. You wanted a sword or a wife?
That's,
Oh, we'd like both. But
I mean, I like both, but like,
maybe it's
that was
I
our
can't
choice.
take you without my sword, so give me my sword back and I'll let you leave. But then I'll change my mind. I'll
well,
take
you
my
know.
Okay. Alright, so the portcullis goes down.
Those
And
are the children with their weapons.
um,
Weapons.
A couple of the spikes slip out, but it stops. It does not go all the way to the floor. It's at about 18 inches. Something appears to be jamming the portcullis.
We're leaving.
Okay, up and out the slope, and no one too terribly the worse for wear except for Miller, who's dead.
Lucas will attempt to get somebody else to carry Miller so that he can have a weapon out.
Okay.
We're all mostly.
Okay. Also, as you exit back out into the creepy fog, because remember he blew the fog out of the tunnel, but back outside, leaving the darkness and entering the fog, as it were. And the rope is taut as they're coming up and out, and you can hear their voices and their footsteps and stuff.
Time's passed.
That's what I was about to say. So you would guess that it has been about 10 to 15 minutes since the girl left.
Not a lot of time.
Probably long.
2 hours. Guess we're making great time. Who all heard that, the meter in the center of town?
Lucas definitely heard it.
Right, it was you, Lucas, and Chiron, I think.
Well, Chiron wasn't paying attention because he was yelling.
Okay. Yeah, that's right. So it's just the two of you. Okay, what are we doing?
We are going to get our stuff, and
Yeah, so it will easily take 5 to 10 minutes minimum, and that's if you are reckless. Like you'll have to rush there, grab everything you possibly can, and get out if that's what you're going to try to do. And you won't have time to like saddle horses, that kind of thing.
0 time.
You can throw the horse on back. I don't know. You can throw the saddle on their back or whatever, but you won't have time to. You won't have time to hitch a wagon.
I want to kind of put my armor on.
No, probably not.
I can go near at the north side of town and see if she'll hold for a couple more minutes to get everybody ready.
Yeah, come on. I'll go see if I can hold the boat.
You should not go by yourself.
Shoot her in the foot, then somebody go with me, because I'm sick of going.
No, don't actually do that.
Does anybody else
Miller will go
have-
with you.
Does anybody else have all their stuff?
When didn't leave
No.
anything behind.
Okay, who will go with you?
All I have
Clune travels fairly lightly.
All I have to grab is a backpack and my horse, but I really need both of those things.
All my stuff is
That
in the
and
wagon.
Clune had the opportunity to grab a lot of stuff when the fight initially broke out because she was inside and people were already fighting. So she saddled up and
All your stuff's in the wagon? We can't take the wagon, so.
Oh, I just need my bow, my axe, this one, good.
We're gonna leave our wagon behind for this?
We can't hitch it. We don't have time.
I mean, you can if you can get her to stay long enough.
Hold the lady.
Okay, so do we assume that you can hold the lady?
I'm gonna grab her and hold her right there.
Are we afraid of somebody stealing the wagon while we leave town?
I will assume this conversation is happening while you're running back toward the building because we've been like doing it for 2 minutes.
So I'd say just leave it. It'll probably be here if we come back for it in, I don't know, daylight.
Okay. Running through the graveyard back toward the center of town. Everyone make a dex check.
make it.
Bye.
Made it.
Failed. One on the ground made it.
She hit your shit on us.
Clune made it. Chiron made it.
I failed. You know what?
Okay. Okay. So as you're running through, you hit like an actual gravestone that stands up, and it caves over under your weight. So it basically winds up laying flat and may have cracked, but you do take 1 point of damage.
I'll just have my armor.
No, it's fall damage, can't do armor.
What? That's dumb.
Sorry, that's the way it works. Armor works versus weapons, not falls.
It's just like a big mace. You can make it.
It's more like a wall.
Yes.
More like a wall than a mace.
How much health does full plate normally have? 24?
Full is 24 before it degrades once. So it has more than that. It degrades at 24.
Oh. Okay, so mine starts at full. Because mine's double here.
So at 48 points of damage, it will degrade 1 AC. It doesn't stop working, it just degrades 1 AC. Basically, once it degrades 3 points of AC, it's basically useless without an armorer. So you need 144 points before you have to worry about it. But it'll go down in AC every 48 points.
Armor and ability time.
Yeah, a lot of time.
Yeah.
Like it's an hour per point or whatever.
Something you really want me to grab.
Days
There's
of
nothing
playing.
I really want you to grab. I have tons of pig meat in there, and I don't know how long we're going to
Tons of what?
Pig meat.
Oh, pig meat. What's the pig meat?
Salted?
Yes.
It'll probably be right
I mean, it's good enough for rations.
Forget the pig meat!
Did anyone else miss their dex check? Just checking.
No, I didn't.
Okay.
I just ran through a gravestone.
Your shin hurt?
No, I'm fine.
My advice would be, don't do that.
Okay. You cleared the graveyard. You're in the village. It takes a moment and help from Herrick with his direction sense to get to the house that you guys were staying in before. The fog is still covering the village pretty badly. So visibility is 3 to 5 feet at any given time. But you do manage to find the house and you're loading up. You are going out to try to find the well. Also a tough task in the fog. Anyone going with you or are you by yourself?
We were sending Clue.
Clume is going with you, okay? So Clume and Herrick rush out there to try to find the well. Both of you roll a d20. Okay? So outside the fence, the ground, it does the elevation on this side, the elevation is going up a little bit. And so you do find patches of visibility. Mind you, you're seeing by starlight, unless you have a brighter light yourself. And it's about 60% canopy clouds, so it's not a lot of starlight. So you think dim night, but you can see a little bit. And so you navigate from patch of not so foggy to patch of not so foggy, and you do manage to find the well. It is basically it's a rectangle of stone in the ground, stacked stone, and it's probably 8 foot by 10 foot, and it actually has stairs that go down to the well itself. It's not like a well like the traditional wishing well type thing where it's like a circle with a bar across the top like this. This is more like it's a rectangle in the ground, like a low wall about 2 feet high, and you go to the opening and you can go down the steps into the well, but you don't directly need to go down into the well. You just located the well, but there is no sign of the girl.
Hello?
No answer.
She did not make room for us.
So it has
5 minutes
been,
early.
by estimation, it has been about 20 minutes. But you're estimating, because you didn't check the clock, because you can't see the clock. In fact, you realize that when you're in the fog, you can't check your watch, and that's troublesome to you. You just realize that makes you feel rather uneasy, that even if you wanted to know what time it was, you couldn't while you're in the fog. That bothers you. But in a gap in the fog out here, you could theoretically check the time. And it glows just ever so faintly in the complete darkness. So you might be able to check the time even in darkness. But fog, that proposes a real problem. How does anyone ever know what time it is in the fog? Fog is like timeless. You find yourself meditating on time, but you don't find the girl. No. She does not appear to be in the area, and even as a kind of a bank of open drifts across as the fog is moving, and you can see like 10, 15 feet in every direction, there's no obvious sign of her. Now you could check for tracks. There's been no fighting here. This is outside the fence, so there's not a lot of fight. And you're pretty sure most of the tracks were from the graveyard up to the village and back again. So if there's tracks here, you could possibly spot her tracks.
Maybe she went to the well.
Maybe she went
Yeah,
to the
look
well.
for signs, and if there's nothing, I'm gonna go look for tracks.
Okay, so roll percentile dice.
I think she probably went down too well. Yeah, the only reason this well would be
Okay.
down this way.
So it does appear there is a set of tracks, human, light, And they went down into the well, and they came up out of the well within the last hour at the most.
So there's a way out of town to the well, I'm assuming?
No, more likely it seems like she came out here, hid in the well, waited for you. You didn't come. She went up out of the well and maybe left. Or went to hide in the brush instead, or went, some distance away.
Can she not guesstimate 20 minutes?
Well, she doesn't have a clock.
I know.
Suddenly you feel substantial pity toward those who don't have a pocket watch. You realize just exactly how blessed you are to have a pocket watch. Then you think about how in the fog you can't check what time it is. And you realize that everyone who doesn't have a pocket watch is in the fog.
Next time we go into town, we're gonna buy pocket watches.
Actually, they're really rare, so it's going to be hard to buy them for everybody, especially in this part of the world. You might have to go to a certain part of the world to buy pocket watches. Anyway, so you could theoretically check for tracks. However, meanwhile, back in town, you enter town, you enter town, you enter town, Miller enters town, because he doesn't have a choice. Okay.
Can I give Miller? I was gonna give Miller to somebody.
You
Can I give Miller to you?
You were gonna tell Miller.
You're much more.
Sure.
You're much more useful carrying a dead body than I am.
Thanks.
I don't know if that's an insult or not.
Well, he can.
It's completely an insult.
No, he can cast spells and stuff while his hands are full, and I can't do that.
You can't cast spells at all.
Yeah. That's you definitely can't
Anyway.
cast them with his hands. The one thing I'm good for, I need my hands full.
Okay. So Chiron's going in the house to get his armor. Were you gathering up whatever of Asterd's that he said he needed? That's the plan?
Yeah. He said he didn't actually really need anything, but I'll grab his backpack or something, and I'll grab my backpack, and I'll...
Okay, so both of you are going in the house.
I've got a few bits there, but I'm just gonna grab.
Okay, so all three of you are going in the house. Who's going in first?
Lucas will go first.
Roll for surprise.
Not surprised, 6.
Okay. All right. So as you step in the darkness, an invisible creature, probably undead, moves to attack you. You may roll initiative, sir. He is standing in the doorway. You may both roll initiative. However, if he doesn't get out of the doorway, you will not be able to attack.
6.
So roll for initiative for Herrick, roll initiative for Chiron. There is a back door, however, just for the record.
3. 6.
Okay. So what did you say your initiative was?
6.
Okay, so you are simultaneous. However, he gets 3 attacks, so it'll be him, then you, then him. You get 2 or 1?
I have to roll, flurry blows, which I made my dex check.
Okay.
So I get 3 attacks.
All right, so then you'll be simultaneous on all 3 attacks.
Interested in giving financially to Low Moon and support the campaign? Text LMGIVE, that's LMGIVE, to 419-419-0095.
You're hitting, he's clawing, you're hitting, he's clawing, you're hitting, he's fighting.
Can I?
If you shield parry, you'll just back off and it'll be him, you, like that,
Yeah, so I'll do that, but I want to shield parry the fight.
specifically. Okay? So
Actually, these guys are paralyzed.
they do, on all 3 attacks.
Never mind, I'll just do it.
Okay, all right. So he's going first. Shield parry is how much?
I'm not shield parry.
Oh, you're not shield parrying. Okay.
I'm going simultaneous with him because I'm worried about paralyzed. So I want to at least hit him.
Okay, but if you shield parry him, you make it very unlikely to hit him, and then you still get an attack after his first attack.
I thought his first attack was a claw.
They all paralyze. All 3 of his attacks paralyzed.
Okay, I'll just shield parry the first one. My
Okay.
shield parry is like 5.
Yeah, so your best chance is shield parry the first attack, then attack, hopefully kill it before it gets another attack. That's your best chance, tactically.
Yeah, we'll do that.
However, you have a 10 wisdom. So, do you want to do what's tactical? Or are you feeling emotional?
We'll do that.
Okay, sounds good.
If there's one thing that he's good
All
at,
right.
it's this.
His claw rings mightily off your sword. Off your shield,
Okay, I rolled a natural 19.
which will hit.
I do 13 points.
Okay, he is still there. You survived your first blow. He will now claw.
Can I sword parry using my third attack, or one of my attacks?
You may not sword parry while doing flurry of blows, unfortunately.
Alright, that's fine.
Flurry of blows replaces your attack routine maneuver.
Okay.
So,
I have negative 2 AC, and I'm wearing a helmet.
and he missed.
Okay.
And you may take your second attack.
Natural 17.
Okay. Yeah, and actually, we did that a little wrong anyway with the shield parry. You'd had to either shield parry first or way after. You couldn't do it in between attacks.
Yeah.
Because flurry of blow is exactly that.
Yeah.
So, all right. Anyway, so you
12
hit.
points.
All right. He goes down. Okay. So he goes in the doorway. There's a quick slash. And they're slamming on each other or whatever. The door slams open further and then closed again. And he hacks at the creature with a couple of slices, and
Moves a bit fast.
within 30 seconds or so, he has put the creature down. Wow, I can't find the one I want. Must be on the top half, that must be why.
And movement. No words.
Okay.
Stay
Who is
together.
second in the door?
That's almost.
Who is second in the door?
I'll go second.
Okay. As you step into the doorway, in the dim light of the room, you realize that the creature that Lucas just killed was a ghoul, but looks remarkably like Kellum.
Yeah. That's 2.
What?
It's Kellum. He just killed Kellum. Well, what was left of Kellum.
Do you have Miller's body?
No, I left it back at the cave. Yes, I've got his body.
Sorry, head's a little fuzzy. Put him on the ground. I have given up all hope on bringing him back to life. We need to deal with that.
What do the Greek religions believe about, like, is there anything about the spirit
What-
making it
sorry.
to the afterlife if the body's desecrated?
What killed him?
No. Basically, you're
Whatever was
dead, you
down
go to
there,
Hades most of
Which
the
I
time.
assume is whatever
Unless
is
you
controlling
have
these things.
really shown
You mentioned
yourself to
something
the
about
gods
his
as something
armies.
special.
Right.
Ghouls do turn creatures
Also,
into
he's
undead,
too
that's what they do.
cold.
Basically, if you die to a ghoul, you become a ghoul.
What do you
Your training tells you
Miller
that.
is too cold?
Yes, his body, it's too cold.
The creature that was in
He died.
the creature that was in the cave, which you did not
Which
see,
means
unfortunately,
either he's turning,
could have
or he's
been a more
drained of
powerful
blood.
undead.
Either is possible, and both will likely result in turning.
Chiron could examine the body and tell you whether or not it is affected as he was describing, meaning whether he would possibly raise as an undead.
Okay.
He's definitely not coming back as a ghoul, because if he was, he'd already be out. That's like, it's almost within a minute. Okay, roll healing.
While he's doing that,
Getting
Lucas,
the stuff.
yeah,
Yep.
the horse is the most important. I'd rather have my horse than my backpack. The backpack is very nice.
Originally, ghouls love horses.
I'll ask the group, can someone saddle my horse for me?
I could drive.
I think right now it's just a matter of throwing the saddle on the horse so you don't have to carry it.
If the horse is even alive.
Sure.
Lucas will gather his backpack, and he's out the door in like 15 seconds.
Okay.
You don't believe me?
I'm watching Chiron's back as he's investigating the body and then ready to bolt.
What was the healing check? So you're only about 50-50,
You need to get out.
but the body has definitely been affected in some way. You've seen life drain before. So he's either been partially life drained and then killed, or he's been life drained to the point that he would come back as a vampire. So it's 50-50 on either of those two, but you're sure that he has some form of life drain that has happened to him.
Okay.
And then that would indicate that the guy that was down there was a vampire.
Okay. I'll say,
Or someone able to life drain.
it wasn't a move, it looks like a vampire. So probably 50-50 shot if he's coming to as a vampire or not.
I assume Lucas is going, but he's not hearing this.
Kill him. Or I will.
Is it like against what a Asclepius would believe or anything like that to take your body after they're already dead?
No, not really. He's already dead, so
Yeah, I think that's for the best.
if he's bound to be a vampire, then spike him in the heart, put him under running water. Beheading him may or may not work.
Right. Yeah,
And it's a wooden spike required, by the way.
the amount of harm the vampire could possibly do is too great. I think that I'd normally be against this kind of thing, but
The Prince Albert series on Kindle features Prince Albert, the young errant prince of the Kingdom Geoff.
I don't really have much choice.
Okay, so Lucas arrives at the horses. So first of all, you realize that the corral where you had placed the horses has been busted open. And you find that both of the light war horses are dead. But in the corral, not having run off and still seeming to be in reasonable health, although he has minor wounds, is the draft horse. And you do not see the heavy horse. Mind you, it's foggy, so you're not seeing very far at all. And the corral is 40-50 feet across. You could just be on the other side, but that seems unlikely because I think we had two light.
I had one.
Okay, so then, all right. So one of the heavies is dead. One of the heavies is possibly alive.
Okay, well, he will quickly run and check the rest of the corral.
Dude, now we come this.
I mean, you can figure it out. You would know when you can see them, feel them. All right, so it's not in the corral. Now, it might come if called,
Yeah, I'll try
but
calling.
the more attention you draw to yourself, the more likely other things might come as well.
I'll try calling to it.
Okay. Okay, at least initially he does not come.
Okay, I'll saddle the draft horse.
Problem is, he could wander pretty far in this fog pretty easily. Horses usually will go from even more horses will go from their site of being let loose under drastic circumstances as much as a mile or more.
Alright, well, I'll put a saddle on the draft horse and, I mean, I can still ride it like a normal horse, right?
Yeah, it's just going to get tired easier on. This draft horse is just their older war horses.
So we'll put that on the draft horse and mount it, and then I guess wait for them to come out of the house.
Okay, and by the time you get done saddling it, they'll probably be pretty quickly coming out. All the equipment is collected, come out of the house. What do we wind up further dealing with the body?
Do we have a wooden stake?
We can get one for a piece of furniture.
Yeah, I was gonna say, there's a table, or is there a table, your table like?
There was a small table and chairs.
But you're not taking one of
Probably already busted up. No, they're not wood.
Like metal spikes?
Like,
I'll
Yeah, it has to be a wooden spike.
go over and break off a good sized piece of the leg.
Okay.
Imagine the table's pretty beat up, so just gonna kick it off the bottom of the surface of the table and
I see a few
Is
words.
it already sharp or do I need to like shave it?
Sharp enough.
Okay. No. Or try and stick it through his chest, I guess.
Roll healing to make sure you locate the heart.
Isn't it on the left side?
I also have anatomy too.
Yeah, no problem. No problema. You have spiked him, and theoretically, he will not rise. Okay, so when you spike him, mind you, there's not very much fog in the house, and there is dim light here. And when you spike him, his upper torso rises, like a nerve spasm, basically, and his head turns, and when his head turns, you hear like a noise, and it looked like basically he was turning to look at you, and then he sags back down. And he's laying there with his eyes open, looking all dead and stuff.
I would have put him to rest if I could, but we did for the bodies earlier.
Yeah. Only so much we can do.
Do the same for me if it happens.
All right. Armor. Assuming if Herrick will help you, it takes about 2 minutes. Without his help, it'll take closer to 4 minutes.
So I'll give you a hand.
Okay. All right. So you armor up. Meanwhile, you hear horse noises outside and realize that Lucas has returned with at least one horse.
About the time that we're finishing with the armor.
Yes.
I'll head outside.
Okay. Can't really see in the fog, but you can see him slightly above the fog. Realize he is mounted on top of a horse. Okay. Meanwhile, elsewhere, Asterd and Clume have looked around the area of the well enough to know that the girl is not here.
We should start heading back and let them know we have time to get all of our stuff.
Lucas is already over here.
Both of you can roll for surprise.
It's perfectly safe. Roll for surprise.
Surprise.
The vampire woman.
Oh, wait.
D8.
Not surprised.
Did you roll a 1? Oh no, they both are surprised. All right, so 1 plus your dex bonus is what? What's your dex?
16.
So that's plus 1. So that means 2. And you rolled a 1. Plus 1 is 2. Okay. Okay. So there are 2 of them, and they have surprised you, and they each have 2 segments of surprise. So basically they come bounding out of the fog. The fog shifts across, you can see pretty well, and then all of a sudden the fog drifts across you, and you can't see again, and seconds later they leap on you. Okay? So they will have 2 unanswered surprise segments. So we'll do Asterd first, first guy. Okay, you're hit twice. 4, 3, and 2. Total of 5. And also you are knocked prone. And then there's a rake for an additional 7 points. So you are on the ground being mauled by a very nasty, rotten, mauled wolf. Okay. Clume. Jumped. Also. Hit once. For 2 points. Okay. And not knocked down. Second surprise segment. Asterd, you're prone and basically on top of him. Missed hit for 2 points of damage. However, you are already prone, so there is a chance of a rake, which hits with a natural 20 for 4 points. So 6 more total. Okay. Clume, hit twice. Total of 3 points. And you are not knocked out. So you do manage to stand there staggering back under its weight, but it's kind of on top of you, and you're being gnawed on and scratched up, but not so severely as to be really dying. Some combat music going, don't we? I don't know what music this is. I have no idea. We'll find out. Doesn't sound like the right music. It's the slow motion combat music. Okay. That's true. And then it changes to this. We can mix it in probably. Do like a mixing thing and see what happens. Tried to scare them away, but no. Okay, surprise segments have ended. You may roll for initiative. Obviously, you did not get your shot before combat, and now you cannot use your bow. One on you, one on you.
How many are there?
There's one on each of you. And one additional joins the combat, which will be on 1 to 3, 4 to 6. Asterd. Death of 1,000 cuts. All right. No missile fire. Melee 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. You're both in 5. You have initiative. Okay. So you have a dog. You're on the ground prone, and you have a dog on top of you. Dog wolf thing. Oh.
This is way better.
Yes, much better. Otherwise, you'd have been rolling for paralysis every time they hit you. Okay. All right. So you're gonna try to throw the dog off of you. Roll percentile dice, looking for a high number. Okay. And he is trying to claw you and bite you while you're trying to do that. Okay, so you like push him off of you. I assume your bow is probably still in your hand, and your other hand push him up off of you. As you do so, he bites down on the fingers of your right hand, and so his body starts to fly, but he still has a hold on your hand for a second. And you will take 2 points of damage. No fingers are lost, however, your right hand is impaired. You will not be able to fire your bow with it, or hold a sword for that matter. He can do his sword in his left hand, and it'll just take a negative. Okay. All right. Anyway, so you did throw him off of you. Once his teeth let go, he flew, and you don't know exactly where because it's far. Yeah. So you could spend the rest of the round getting out. All right. And for that matter, you can get hand axes out. Bear in mind, you really won't be able to hold a hand axe in your right hand. Okay, so you can be standing up and have a hand axe in your hand. If the other dog does not attack you, then in missile fire you'd be able to throw a hand axe and draw another one. But it depends on whether, because there's one coming yet. Oh, yeah, he is attacking you, so if he doesn't hit you, you'd be able to do that. All right? You had 5 also? A nasty, stinky dog on you.
On top of me? Wow.
He's not really on top of you, he's like leaning against you.
Alright, I'll attack him with both dogs.
Okay. So you have doubled his initiative, so you may attack both times.
18 and 1.
The 1 is definitely a miss, the 18 is a hit. Daggers are D4. That's a D6.
Yes, but it also says next to it D3 plus 3.
It's probably D4 plus 3.
Well, one's D4 plus 3, one's D3 plus 3.
Yeah, so against large, it goes to D3, but these are smaller, medium size, so they're D4. So it's D4 plus 3 damage. Total of 5. Okay, he is still there. He's going to return fire on you. Claw, hit. Claw missed. Bite, hit. Okay, the first claw did 2 points. And the bite did 2 points. Okay, and he's still on you, but he is wounded now. You stabbed him moderately well. Okay, the second wolf on you. Claw is a hit. Bite, claw is a miss, so you won't get the rake. Bite is a hit. Claw, 1 point. Bite, 2 points. So he's on you, so you can't throw the hand axe, but you can attack coming this round. Okay? And that ends the round. Roll initiative. Moving quickly because we're running out of time. It's gonna have dog sounds. It's gonna have dog sounds. Okay. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. Okay. The story has 5. You have a hand axe in hand. You can hit it with a hand axe. You can't throw it. Yeah. Roll the hit. Okay. 5 is probably a miss. Let's see, 15 strength. Yeah, 5's a miss. Okay. All right. Roll a d20 real quick, help for me. Okay. You hear the sounds of the dog that you threw off of you running away. Okay. All right. So we were in 5. Going to initiative 4. Okay. In 4, the one that's still on you attacks you. Claw, missed. Claw, hit. Bite, missed. Claw, 2 points. Okay. And 3, 2. Yeesh. Okay. So you have both daggers, and you can attack with both because you have doubled his initiative, because you have a 2 and he has a 1.
Alright.
Maybe you'll kill him before he gets to attack.
7 and 13.
13's a hit for sure. 7. You're what? Pistol fighter?
16.
15. Does it have a thaco next to the dagger? It might already be in
This
there.
is 13.
And you rolled a 7. So that's a miss. So the other one, a little bit on the damage. Oh, okay. So he's dead. He's like caves over off of your daggers. He does not get to attack you because he died. Okay. So that you do hear one still attacking Asterd. I was looking for dog noise, let me try to find my dog noise. I'm gonna search for dog noises later. Okay, anyway, that ends the round. Initiative. Alright, so he's maybe 6-8 feet away. However, the only light you have really is your daggers, and it's pretty foggy, so you really can't see him. Like, you see like silhouettes, and you realize he's fighting a dog. They're twisting around and stuff, so you realize what's going on, but you can't tell him from the dog.
Perhaps you'd like to write for Low Moon Adventures. The Prince Albert series on Kindle is a short story series where you can write your own based on our prompts and donate them or donate half their profit to the ministry.
So missile fire is pretty much out of the question. Melee 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, and 5. So you charge over to help him. Both of you in 5, okay? So the dog goes in 5. So if you can kill him before 5, or before 4, he goes in 4. So roll the hit. Roll your first hit. 13 to hit. That's a miss.
5.
Okay, he's still there. Then he is going to claw Asterd, and then you can take your second dagger hit. Claw on Asterd is a miss. Is it? Okay, he's dead. Alright, so the two of you managed to kill the crazed dog beasts.
And you didn't want to throw the game for myself.
Versus a vampire, if you wanted him for a life.
That's
Sounds like you
that
were
is a
going to lie.
or undead.
Or undead, that's true.
Yes. Okay, it is calming. Alright, we're going to be stopping here shortly. We're 12 minutes past our time. Alright, so the party at the house gathers everything, heads out to the well. Whether or not you intersected them briefly before they get there is moderately irrelevant at that point. No sign of the girl, except you do think you could track her probably. So if she went back to their hideaway in the hills, then that would make the most sense. Lucas chose to saddle the draft horse. Oh, there is a small chance of it. Let's see if the heavy horse turns up. It does not. So the missing heavy horse does not turn up. You have a saddled draft horse, which is basically a war horse, but kind of old.
And the light horse is gone.
Yep, the only one heavy horse and the draft horse survived. They found the other 2 dead bodies.
Who's heavy horse? Going back to never having a horse.
They haven't found the heavy horse yet.
It ran off.
They all
Didn't find the body.
Okay.
Is there...
Actually, most knights would take several horses into the field because they were very easily wounded and you had to let them heal
I
up.
believe it, but if I take several horses, I just kill more horses at once.
If you say so.
Is there time for
Most
Kyle?
nights we're not adventurous.
This time what?
Is there Kyle on
Three.
healing?
That's up to the group.
Mass horse
It
killing.
appears as if as long as you remain here in the fog, in the vicinity of the village and the graveyard, you may be in danger of these wolves or dogs or whatever they are. But it doesn't seem like you're in any danger for any ghouls, per se.
They probably removed their numbers for a period of time.
No, for sure.
Anyway, so-
They took a couple of us with them, so...
Clume was asking about healing. The question is, do you want to try to heal here, or do you want to try to track?
I'd say we leave first.
If we're tracking the girl, we track the girl, but we
We did. I agree with Lucas.
Roll percentile dice.
And just for information, Miller was likely going to be turning into a vampire. So we dealt with that.
And I assume you left Kelvin's body there as well?
Did we loot their bodies?
No, I did not loot their bodies.
That seemed a little...
That's right, I say that directly to you. No, we did not loot their
It
bodies.
appears as if Miller had already been looted when you found him.
Yeah, it did say he didn't have anything else.
He didn't have much left.
Can we grab Caleb's stuff?
Well, they left him in the house, and now everybody's
You
at
wanna
the
go
well.
back for
So
it, sure.
Let's just go, it's not...
he didn't have much that other than his book would probably worth quite a bit.
Yes, it would be worth hundreds of gold pieces.
Yeah.
If not thousands.
Hundreds per spell. He's like, I don't know, is it worth it?
I'm not motivated by money, so feel free.
Roll a
I'm
d20.
motivated by getting out of this town.
Lightly motivated. I'm ready to heal it.
Trying
Trying to think if he had anything important.
Ricky, roll a d20 as well.
That makes all the stats.
Okay. Both of you hear what it sounds like a low-flying bat
Alright,
fly
let's
from the
go.
vicinity of the graveyard toward the town.
I don't wanna hear anything else. I wanna smell fresh air.
Like a,
I
you're
wanna
like,
sleep.
In
and
bed.
it goes by. You don't see it, in the fog. Actually, roll a d20 and see if you see it. There's a small chance.
7.
You caught a glimpse of it.
Oh, cool. Let's leave.
You don't see it.
I guess for
It's just the scrounger in me hates to leave stuff behind.
The constantly
It's like,
attacked in me.
If it's
is
maybe stuff, then it's
The
maybe
nearly
stuff.
dead me wants to be safe.
Well, in theory, if that's the vampire's lair, you can always come back for him later. And you'll have Kellum's stuff and his own stuff. Preferably when it's not so stinking foggy and in the middle of the night, like during the day when there's a small chance he might be sleeping. All right.
Vampires. If that's actually a vampire, like a full-fledged vampire, we'd be so wrong. Vampires are scary.
Yeah, but you're just saying that because they drain 2 levels with every attack.
Magical weapons to hit.
Which you have.
Was a fairly potent magical weapons.
I'm saying that because
This party has some fairly potent magical items.
the uprising party.
I have a +1,
Who are all
+1
level
speed.
9.
Brooding against undead, that would be okay?
It won't work. It only works against the living. They don't bleed.
But does it still act as a +3?
Yes, it would. So, yeah, so in that sense, I guess you could use it.
But when the uprising party came up.
So if you could get inscribed on the blade, use against undead only, then you could probably keep it. Or if you get a curse on it that anybody uses against anything but undead
It was
turns
only
purple
me
or
and
something like that.
And we were caught off guard.
Yeah, that'd be
I'm
tough.
playing Curse of Fraud right
All right. Anyway, so the party. Did you roll percent on these?
You didn't say roll percent.
Roll percent on these. I'm saying it now. I'm saying it now. Tracking is percentile.
Vampires are probably worse.
Roll percent. And you were attacked again.
Roll for surprise.
Okay. So you have located what you believe is the young woman's tracks, headed toward the hills due north of the village, and the party can follow them as long as you are successful in keeping them located. So that is where we will leave off, as the Low Moon Outsiders leave the haunted village to go up to the hills where apparently remnants of the village are hiding out
now. Why did we come here again?
to find Serena, the
What's this?
gypsy.
Goal of dogs.
The gypsy woman who used to be a love interest for Asterd, and her cousin gypped him out of his marriage and membership in the clan. Because apparently he lied to Asterd and said they were going to kill him, but he recently found out they weren't going to kill him, but
Why were they going to kill you? Sorry, why did you think they were going to kill you?
because her cousin came and told him, lied to him basically.
The way that it was presented in the flashback was very, it worked out very naturally and it made a lot of sense. But it does sound a little ridiculous when you just.
It's not at all uncommon for gypsies to deal extremely harshly with anyone who messes with their women without their permission. So, not necessarily death, but certainly bad violence and humiliation.
Just wanted to make sure I understood what I was potentially getting myself into.
Yes.
I am getting myself out of the town.
Yes. The party leaves the town, theoretically, without any trouble. And you start up into the hills. And the fog is not nearly as bad, and you can begin to see. But it's not time for the sun to come up yet, so it's going to be dark for a while.
How is it, I feel like it's been like a full 24 hours of non-stop fighting anything.
Just
And
because
yet
it took
it's
2
been
sessions.
It's only been 2.
Yeah, it's been less than 2 hours, yeah.
Stay tuned for more Low Moonian adventures.